Hello, this is John Ritz. Today I want to talk to you about one way that you can improve conversions on your website, improve your sales, your opt-ins, whatever your goal is. I know we hear that talked about a lot, but a sales letter is sort of like a treehouse in that we have goals. The treehouse can be built a number of different ways. You can build it for longevity, that it'll survive the weather and the elements. You can build it more for the environment, where you're kind to the tree. You can make it sturdier, you can build a foundation stronger. There's lots of ways to do it. And there isn't any one right or wrong way. It really has to do with what your goal is for that treehouse, or in this case, the sales letter. But I'm asked to critique a lot of sales letters, and a lot of people, a lot of marketers reveal their product or service just a little bit too early. People who come to your website aren't interested necessarily in buying a product or service. They're interested in a solution to whatever problem they have, or satisfying their passion for their niche. And it's up to you to convince them that your product or solution is the solution, your product or service, is the solution they're looking for. And there's a formula, a proven formula, that will help you do that, and it's very simple. Let me just talk a little bit about why they come to your website and what you need to focus on. If you've ever read a book called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, it's a tough read. You need to read it a few times to really sort of let it sink in, but it's a very, very good book, published back in the 60s, but very, very true today, just as it was then. A little hard, a little pricey to come by, but well worth it. Gene talks about right off in the very first beginning of the book that you need to channel the desire of your prospect, the people coming to your website or reading whatever advertising medium you're giving them, the message that you're giving them. They have a desire. They may not be consciously aware of it. It could be in their subconscious mind, or they could be very well aware of it. They may or may not know it, but they have to have this desire to begin with. You can't create a desire where one does not exist. So, number one, you need to think about that. And I actually did an interview with David Garfinkel not too long ago. If you have my Copywriter's Toolkit product or Foolproof Profits, you'll have that interview in there. But David really talks about the prospect. Everything comes from the prospect, and rightfully so. I mean, all of your campaigns should be targeted around them, because they are the people, they're your audience, they're the people you're trying to deliver this message to. I'll have more to say about Eugene Schwartz, because I want to really break that down, some of the core elements he says in Breakthrough Advertising, make it a little more mainstream, a little easier. But back to the formula. If people come to your website, and you need to be kind of aware of how they get there. If you're promising them one thing and then they get there and it's totally different, obviously they're going to click away. They're not interested. It needs to be an extension of how they got there or why they got there in the first place. But the formula I'm talking about is an old, time-tested one called Problem, Agitate, Solve. I didn't make this up. It's been around for many years, but it works very well. And here, it's very simple. The first thing they do when they get to your website is you identify the problem. Okay. And let me start by saying there are really two types of niches that I think in broad category. There's people that are passionate about your niche, like golfers, for example, will do anything to knock strokes off their game. Maybe golf is too broad of a niche, so you might go to how to improve your short game, or even better, how do you improve your play on the green, your putting, or maybe mental golf. They say 90% of golf is mental, and the other 10% is mental. An old saying. These people are passionate about your niche, and then there's other people that really don't want to be in the niche, but they're forced to be there. People that have trouble sleeping at night, they're insomniacs, people that want to get rid of acne, people that have babies that they can't get to sleep, and they're trying to figure out what are some tips to get their babies to sleep and get on a normal sleeping schedule. These aren't people that are passionate about the niche. They're forced to be there through whatever reason. Problem, Agitate, Solve, that formula I'm talking about, is really designed for the latter, those people that have a problem. You can use it in the passionate niche, but I think it works better in the second. And now, so getting back to the formula, you identify the problem, and then you kind of basically just say, here's the situation. And maybe they don't know they already have it consciously, but it's there. I mean, the problem exists. They already have it. You're not creating something that they don't have. And they're like, oh yeah, maybe that's something I need to it kind of pikes their interest. They want to read more. Then you agitate the problem. You stick that knife in, you give it a good twist. While you're at it, you take some salt, pour salt on the wound. Really, really tell them how bad they got it. I mean, they know how bad already, but you're just sort of saying, boy, it sucks, doesn't it? You're agitating the problem. And the final part of that formula is the solution, where you say, well, wait, there is a solution, and you have to obviously have proof that leads up to that. And I'll talk about proof separately. I've talked about it numerous times before, but you can't just come out and say, here's my product, it's going to solve all your problems, and blah, 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 because that's hype. I define hype as anything you say, any claim you make that you can't back up with proof. That's hype. So you have to have the proof. But then you get into, the solve portion, which is your product, and that's the right time to introduce your product. So use that formula, and I think you'll see, at least test it. You'll see some interesting conversion differences. And I really think that a lot of people rush their sales letters. The old long copy versus short copy debate will probably never end. How long should your sales letter be? Well, long enough to get the job done. It could be short, it could be long if you got a big story to tell, if you got some convincing to do, a lot of proof to show, it might be a little longer. Depending on the sophistication of your market, they may already know what your product is, they may already know what it does, and they may just need to come there and they're on the fence and need a reason why to buy it right now, and you give them that reason and bam, maybe it's shorter. And that's something we're going to talk about in the next video when I get into more of Gene Schwartz, breakthrough advertising, market sophistication, and a variety of other ways, why your headline should change as your product gets more recognized from your niche market. You really shouldn't, what worked before may not work now. There's different stages that your prospects and your market go through. So we're going to cover that next. You can catch all these videos that I'm doing, by the way, for free at foolproofprofits.tv. It's a special video site I set up. No opt-in, nothing required. Just go there and start watching them, and that's where I'm going to put all these videos. So hopefully this helped you. If you got any tips, feel free to leave a comment. And use this stuff to your advantage, because it works. It's proven to work. Really, over a century of experience has shown that a lot of the old direct response tactics that have worked for 100 years or more are working just as well on the internet today and in other mediums. So take care. Until next time, this is John Ritz. Thank you.